One of the funny stories that happened this year was between a branch of ECG and a certain community. Um, the summary was that ECG went to disconnect the light of that community because they were not paying, and they had gathered so many bills for them because their monies kept on accruing and accruing, and it was like they were not willing to pay. So the community got angry and decided to go against those ECG personnel. It was a very funny event. Well, these are the residents of Sefi, Asawenso, in the Western North region. Um, it was not too long ago when they took off with the um ECG personnel after these incidents occurred. Now, ECG explained how these people refused to pay for the electricity they have consumed over a period of time. Now, the members of this community were not willing to agree with ECG's, demand on them to pay. Some of them said even there was supposed to be a free electricity, something that the government initiated there. So this was to ease the impact of the COVID-19 era on them. Um, but ECG claimed that those tariffs and all those things the president said was during that time, and it was not now 2021, it was 2019. But they also claim the president never said so. So from that time till now, their bills have been piling up. It was just piling up, piling up, piling up, piling up. So what ECG did was they got this revenue mobilization team, which are normally known as a tax force. Um, they got them in a vehicle and they took them to that community to collect the debts that were owed by these individuals. For those customers, they were so mad at the tax force that they actually attacked them, because sometimes this tax force, when they come, they come with this attacking nature. So the residents were like, you are also human beings like us, we will not be afraid of you because of that uniform that makes you called a tax force. And some of them were even showing that they had more body and were more muscular than this ECG personnel. So words were exchanged. This person said this, that person said that. The next thing you know, it was a brawl, and things were happening. So when the team of tax force were attacked and they themselves were doing some attacking, the things subsided down a little after the incident, and they returned to let the electricity company of Ghana have an idea of how things went. Now, if you take a census, or if you even if you take a look at the bills, and then even look at the way things have been piling up, what we saw from ECG, it's like 90% of the whole community were owing, and they were not willing to make any payments anytime soon. So before we go on, the regional public relations officer, the one who is in charge of the western region and the western north regions, Mr. Benjamin Kweku, made people aware that um, according to even what he knew, 453 different customers owed more than a total of 1.1 million Ghana cedis. That was if you accrue all of them, their debts together. And some of the debts, this was what was shocking, were not only from the COVID 2019 era, but some could be dated as far back as 2015. Now, before we go ahead, how can ECG allow these people for that long to be, using light without paying from 2015, and nothing was done about it? So, from 2015, what if some people had moved? What if some people were not living there anymore? What if new people had come in? You get it? So we just felt it was too long when Mr. Kweku gave out that information. Now he also said that after some of these community members you know, attacked the ECG officials who are came to collect the lights, collect the bills. The ECG officials went again, and this time they went about 20 of them to disconnect the lights because since the people were not willing to pay, they decided it was not cool for them to be using it anymore. So these 20 ECG officials went to disconnect the lights, and they went with no other motive but to disconnect the light. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, the people who were in the community got wind of it. So the moment the disconnection started, come and see. People came out from their rooms, called each other in the community, formed one group, and attacked these 20 ECG officials. It was very hot. It was so serious that these angry residents were willing to go any length to teach these ECG officials a lesson because they were not happy that their lights were being disconnected. Now, this physical assault that occurred did not end there. The next thing we could hear and see was that some of them went to deflate the front tires of the ECG vehicle. You know, the company car, those pickups that they can even carry the ladder inside. Yeah, they disconnected the front tires, the two front tires. So you just heard somebody pulled one of the valves, then shoo, shoo. That was just the air coming out. Things went rather bitter during that time, and it was nothing to write home about. Now, Mr. Koko said that if it wasn't for timely intervention of the police, there would have been worse things that would have occurred. There were some who were even planning on lynching these ECG officials for having the courage to come and disconnect their lights. They were so willing that they were taking things around, blocks, claps, just bottles, sticks. They were just taking things to teach these officials lessons. And as the fight was going on, more people were spreading the news. The people are disconnecting our light. They're disconnecting our light. So more people came out. I even saw some women with children at their backs getting ready to go and join in the battle. And I'm like, hey, now you're having a baby behind you. You don't even put the baby down before you go and fight. But people were that serious. So, during this, if you had seen some of the footages, some are just too, too violent. So we didn't want to put it out there. Like you would have seen how serious it was. Those who took the footages did very well. You would be shocked about how real the situation was. When this exercise was going on between the two of them, one of them went to the community information center and announced in the public address system that the officials of this ECG were going on in some illegality as they were not supposed to disconnect them. So this announce sort of gathered more support of the youth in the community. Before we knew it, these 20 people were surrounded by about 200 people. They were not only willing to lynch them, they were trying to get them to, go back to reconnect those lights that were already disconnected. They were that serious. They forced them to go back to reconnect it, claiming if they didn't reconnect it, they were going to severely beat them up till they could breathe no more. So when it got serious like that, one of them was able to phone quickly and get the help of some people to contact the police. If the police had not come, it would have been a very sad event. We probably would have been hearing an obituary or obituaries by now. So the police stepped in, and when the police stepped in, things were okay. it was even funny that the timing the police came. So that was just divine timing, because if the police had not come at that time, people had really come in their masses. Some people did not even know what was happening. They just came and they were ready to fight. Like, some people are disconnecting her life. They didn't even find out the reason why, whatever. Then they go take stones. Like, they were just that ready. We don't know how come, whether these people they have been training for war, or because the way they were really able to mobilize themselves so quickly. Wow, it was amazing. Now, after they took off those ties, there was another vehicle too. That was a Kia Rhino, one of these Rhino trucks. They took off that car's ties too. But the police's timely arrival saved those men from being lynched, and also they were not forced to finish the reconnection like they were going to do before. So after this, things have been not too stable around the area. People's hearts have gone up. People are ready to do whatever they will do to make sure that the things that are happening would come to an end. And some people are just ready for vengeance. It's funny right now, but the community is a lovely community. They are actually nice people there. We just don't know what leads to what. Sometimes you have to find out who are really owing the fees. Is it those people who you are seeing, or the people who owe have just run away and gone somewhere, and then it's new people who they've put this bill on? You get it? So we don't want to blame the community too much. Let's do our proper research to see who and who really owe. That's the most important thing. Who and who are really owing large sums of money. So in the meantime, we beg of the residents in this area, the Sephria so in the western region, please, we know it's not a nice thing to have your lights out, especially when you're using it for business and for very serious things other than just watching TV and enjoying the house. So it's very painful. Now, as much as it is painful, know that it's also going to be painful if a life is lost. Though you may not be the one whose life is lost, whoever you kill will definitely have an impact on another person somewhere. Maybe the person you are going to lynch is going to have some kids who have only this particular daddy as their support. So we beg of you, just exercise patience. Let's just pray that things will change, and a sort of some form of resolution will be brought to this ECG light problems. If things do happen that way, then there's going to be some peace in that area. If not, it's going to happen again, because ECG will not allow those people to be using the lights forever, and we all know that. So let's see what happens. But please, the community members, we are pleading with you. Please just don't mind those people who come to disconnect. I know you're not like your lights to be disconnected, but just don't ignore them. You know what? Don't mind them. Ignore them. There are some things that you would do now that you may not intend doing it to that extent, but because of the anger felt at the moment, you do it to you do the worst. And this is what happens after after the whole issue has died down, after the dust settles, and after everybody has gone back to their place. You look at the damage and the harm you caused, and you realize that you were not yourself. You realize that you've really made such a mistake that would be so erroneous, to correct. Then the problem will be you wishing to go back to change it, but you'll never get that opportunity. So we beg of you, we are not blaming you, neither are we blaming the ECG, because we don't know the full story behind it. We only know you owe and they want to disconnect, but I don't know whether you are the ones who really owe, or the people who owed have gone. We don't really know how come you owed that amount of money. So we beg of you, please show just a little constraint, just a little patience, just a little self-control, and don't wound or lynch any ECG official. We trust in you, don't worry. We know you can keep it low for a while. We know you can keep it very civil. So let's see what happens. Hopefully the issue will be solved and all this will be a thing of the past. For those of you who have heard of this, you can leave your comments in the section below, or maybe you have anything to say about the video, feel free to do so. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.